What's up, guys? Devin Tracy here. I want to take a minute to have a quick conversation with you about a Facebook post that I made a couple days ago. This post spurred a really interesting conversation in the comments, and so I'm going to read you the post, I'm going to read you the comments, and I'm just going to share some of my thoughts about it with you because I thought it was interesting. And in the end of the dialogue, I actually said, I so appreciate this dialogue. I fully agree with both of you on all points. Thinking I'll make a quick response video to this dialogue, and I'll include my overall thoughts that led to this post as well. So that's what I'm doing now. Hopefully this video will be like 5 minutes or less. But let's just go ahead and I'll read you the post first. Okay? If I did a 2-day virtual workshop where I pull back the curtains and show the exact strategies and process I use to go full-time into business and earn more than I ever did as an employee in exactly 12 months, would you be interested? These are the same strategies and processes that I showed to Keith Bashirs when he landed 10 new clients in a single month. These are the same strategies and processes I showed to Kian Z, I don't know how to pronounce Kian's last name, unfortunately, that he used to go from 0 to over 7K in his business in just 32 days. This would not be a 2-day webinar, but a true workshop. I would give group teachings, then we would spend time building things together, one-on-one time built in for everyone, and by the end of the 2 days, you would have an exact roadmap and possibly even sales that is customized to your circumstances. I would only charge $197 per ticket, and I'm not going to do it unless at least 10 people are willing to say, I want this, with their credit cards. If not enough people sign up, I'll just refund those who did, / work something out on a case-by-case basis. It'll be next month, exact date to be determined based on interest. If you'd be interested, comment below. That was the post, and here's the dialogue that started occurring between Kian, who I mentioned in the post, and a gentleman named Daniel, who's been following me for some time. We've got a calls together, Daniel and I, good kid. So this is what it said. Daniel started the dialogue saying, great value until you decide to charge, even though you have earned the right to charge that. Wasn't sure when I saw that post, that comment, if I was going to respond to it or not, but then Kian responded, and this really amazing dialogue pursued. Daniel, it's still a great value in my opinion. If you're willing, you can come away with the ability to make that money back and a lot more in a very short amount of time. Devin's work encourages and supports fast, simple action. To which Daniel responded and said, I know that, but he's not there yet with his audience. Look at the comment section. If this was free, he would have gotten paid in his audience, so he could make offers like he did today. Just a timing issue, in my opinion. Now, to Daniel's point, when he said look at the comment section, besides one other person who simply commented a fire emoji, this conversation is the only thing that happened in the comments. There are, it looks like 5 reactions and basically no comments. So his point is very well founded here, that there are not a lot of comments here. This is engaged. My audience is not responding to this offer. So that leads him to think there's a timing issue. And as I said, I agree with every point made by both parties in this thread. So I don't disagree with a single thing he said. The livelihood of the post defends that on its own. No issues here, no complaints on my end. Kian responds and says, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I had 0 audience at day 0 out of 32 that's referred to above. And I've learned that strangely, it's entirely possible to make sales even without getting comments and likes. All my customers ended up buying from me as a result of posts that had next to no engagement on them. I also have it on a very good authority that Devin is doing pretty darn well in his business right now. Kian is absolutely right. And if I were to have chimed in the defensive nature, I would have said that it's actually the case that almost every time I make a post like this, I do end up making money. Now, sometimes the posts blow up and I can end up getting 10, 20, 30, 40 customers off of whatever I posted. Most often, what happens when I make a post like this is it doesn't get very much engagement, it doesn't get very much reaction. But I get 3 or 4 people who DM me, and out of those 3 or 4 who DM me, 1 or 2 end up paying for whatever I sold. So with this particular post, if 1 or 2 would have ended up paying me the $200 for the ticket, that would have ended up giving them a refund or having a conversation about how we can transfer that to some other service I can provide for them, which would have been reasonable. I would have needed this post to blow up in order to, blow up for me based on my audience size currently, in order to be willing to do it based on the parameters that I made in the post. So Kian's right in that this post has the real possibility of making me money even if nobody engages with it. Here's how Daniel responded. Like I said, I know that. The reason he is experiencing all this success is because he decided to grow his audience in January and it's led him where he's at. At the end of the day, if you provide the utmost value, people will attract. I'm saying if he did it for free, which I wouldn't even show up for anyway, personally. A lot of people will join and see how awesome Devin is. And all for what? To make $2,000 with 10 people? It's good money, don't get me wrong. However, his strategy to grow his audience pays more dividends, especially since money doesn't actually matter. JRS the people? Not sure what that means. But we don't disagree. You just don't understand my side. Now, for me personally, seeing this was really clarifying to understand where Daniel's coming from. And like I said, I don't disagree with any of the points he's made, but now I understand the overall point he's trying to make. And it's fun because Daniel knows I started building my audience back in January. I didn't have a Facebook following up until then. So all the work that I've done has came from January, and he's right on that. Now, the strange thing is I actually made more money in the month of January from my Facebook posts than I did in the month of June, which was the most successful month that I've ever had. But that's not because the Facebook strategy doesn't work, it's because I got preoccupied. But he's absolutely right, and so this post was actually a resurgence of me digging back into being intentional with my Facebook posting once again. But I'll talk more about my strategy after I get through the last points here. Daniel follows up with that and says, plus either way, he could have just offered that for a case by case. $200 per ticket for a 2-day call is a good deal, given that it's Devin. But people don't know Devin like that yet, or at least 4,000 people don't know how cool Devin is. Kian responds to this and says, okay, I get what you're saying. In my experience, lots of different strategies work. Sometimes the ones that people say don't work end up working. That's why we are all the ones with the freedom to try out what we think is right ourselves in our own business. Daniel responds and says, of course, that goes without saying. Good conversation. To my promise, I said I was going to explain my thought process in this post and my thoughts about the comments that were made. Now, I agree with both of them full-heartedly. I don't disagree with anything that's been said in this dialogue. Part of my strategy is to once or twice a week throw out an offer like this that I've never presented before and just see how my audience reacts to it. If nobody reacts to it, that's fine. I don't lose much from it. This world of social media moves so quickly that people aren't really going to remember any one particular offer, whether it ended up happening or not. I experienced this 2 months ago when I started doing these live workshops, and I got a lot of people in attendance because I made a post like this that people really liked the idea of. So I'm really just learning about my audience when I throw out random offers like this. And in this particular case, where most random offers like this that I do make, I make free initially. In this particular case, the offer I was going to be making was so large that I couldn't viably find the time to set it all up and make it all happen, let alone do it, if I didn't get compensated for that time somehow. So a 2-day workshop is just so intensive that I didn't see a way to be able to do it for free in my current state in business. Could I one day? Absolutely. Will I one day? Maybe. But at this point in time, it was just a little out of reach for me. So to add credence to that, what I ended up doing is taking Daniel's idea even and testing it a little bit further. So what I did is I immediately went and I made a poll inside my private Facebook group. And I said, if I were to do one of these things in July for free, which one would you want? And instead of doing a 2-day live workshop, I said a 2-hour live workshop. And this is for free. And then I gave 3 other options. The other options I gave was a 1-hour one-on-one coaching call, which has been very successful for me in the past, so it's worth testing. A free mini course going through the same type of material that 2-hour live training would do, and free early access to the book that I'm writing. Now, interestingly enough, I had so far 13 people vote on this. And of the 13 people who voted on this, 7 voted for the free 2-day workshop, which means there's a really good chance I'm probably going to do a free 2-day workshop. I'm just going to reach out to all these people and have them commit and figure out timing and do all the logistics stuff. 5 actually said that they would take the free early access to the book, which was fascinating to me because that's 5 people out of 13 saying, yes, I will read. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And then 1 person said that they would take the one-on-one coaching call. So I'll probably reach out to that person and offer them a free coaching call because I can do that. And nobody wanted the mini course. So things in that poll didn't break down exactly how I expected, but a really cool thing did happen from this post that got virtually no engagement, and all that it got was 1 person pointing out that the timing of this offer doesn't seem right for the audience. which apparently he's correct. What happened from that is I got this amazing dialogue. I got to have this conversation with you guys. I then was able to repurpose it and create a new offer, and in the sense of a poll, I was able to learn a lot more about my overall audience. Now, 13 people responding to the poll is not an insane number. It's not as many as I expected because this is a 1,000 person group that is relatively active, so I expected more. But data is data, and now I can reach out to all 13 of these people and start a dialogue, and who knows what's going to come from that. So I am so appreciative of both of you, Daniel and Keon. I am so appreciative of the dialogue that you had. I appreciate both of your perspectives. I don't disagree with either of you on any point. And I think Daniel's probably right that the timing wasn't absolutely perfect for this audience, clearly, because I didn't get any engagement on it. And it might be the case that I can literally make that same offer verbatim, not change a word about the post, in 6 months, and maybe it gets a different result. The deciding factor is going to be, what do I do in the next 6 months to nurture the audience and get them prepared for it? So I think Daniel's right, and I think what I need to start doing is more things for free where people get to interact with me more directly. Right now, I do this in a couple ways. I do it with my podcast. I have a daily podcast, goes live on Spotify and on YouTube, so you can see my face every day. And I have a weekly free training inside of my Facebook group where I do a live training every single Monday. So those are the 2 ways I'm doing it now, but I think Daniel's right. I just need to start making more offers and more invitations for people to do more cool, exciting, fun, free things with me, and building an audience around that, so that in 6 months I can monetize it in a more meaningful way. Daniel, I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate you taking the time to be critical, because honestly, that's the way that we all grow. Love you guys so much. Gonna end the video there. God bless.